of the supermassive black hole believed to be at the center of our galaxy. This is the picture. The orange areas show light orbiting the hole's edges. Astronomers believe this achievement will allow them to learn more about how the galaxy was created and how gravity works.
Scientists believe there is a black hole at the center of nearly every galaxy. They say our black hole is a gentle giant. That black holes usually suck in gigantic material, but ours is eating very little. It took hundreds of researchers from dozens of institutions around the world years to take this picture and confirm the discovery.
For decades, astronomers have been on a quest, searching the skies and into the very heart of our galaxy for a mysterious and elusive black hole. Now they've found it and taken this picture. The black hole is at the centre of the image. It's revealed by swirling hot matter, pulled in by powerful gravitational forces.
That powerful rotation, along with the spinning of the black hole itself, basically acts like the glue that holds the galaxy together.
Pretty cool stuff. Scientists say we've known about the existence of a massive object in our galaxy since 1974, but this new image is the first visual confirmation that it's a black hole.
Theory has now become reality, and they can now kick on to find out how this black hole really works and even how our own galaxy came to be.
Welcome back. Time for the Hot Topic Buzz. So next week, Congress will hold an open congressional hearing about...
So, peace, y'all. It's Campson, the Oracle, one half of Remnants Gathering. But now I'm saying whole because that is the whole goal, right? For us to be whole. Cardi B songs, she's just like, it activates demons, you know, demons that she meant to kill are being activated. And then you have Carbonation, and she's saying that her baby is a demon. She calls her baby a demon. And people are really making a big deal about this on the internet. And it's just so unfortunate because it's distracting us from focusing on what really matters.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
check this out.
I don't want to be that girl anymore. Like I just want to be a mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be that old Cardi anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be that girl anymore. Like I just want to be a mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be that old Cardi anymore.
So as we can see, it seems that she's going through her own personal self-realization, and maybe she knows or doesn't know that they have been using her in depiction of Kali Ma with the heads all around her head in the video. And as you can see here, this is from a book that I remember picking up way back in the 90s, and it talks about how the womb, the yoni, the WAP is actually a very important part in all types of initiation into other spiritual systems. I broke this down in the world consciousness. The churches have been using this for a really long time. There is something called the Sheila Nagig. You can travel all across the world and see this. And so I've been breaking this down, and I was really reluctant about this because a lot of people enjoy their blue pill, you know, and I respect that, because to me, the mark of a truly spiritual person is one that does not push their beliefs on others, right? And so, but me expressing this, it can cause cognitive dissonance, because what you think you know, you don't know. And the only way we learn is by realizing that whatever beliefs and whatever perceptions you have, they can evolve and they can expand, and your consciousness can change. And that's what's happened with her. So they've been using her to protect themselves from the things that they were doing, as they always have done, going all the way back to Janet Jackson, what happened with her at the Super Bowl. As you can see here, I break that down in the WAP War lecture where I'm explaining how that's connected to Sirius, the star system. And so they are continuing to do this. And if you notice, there's no other race of woman that they really do this with in the industry, right? And so this is not about trying to make someone superior or inferior. This is about being honest about the things that we have observed and see. Don't think because we in a spiritual community that you're not supposed to call things like you see it. It just is what it is. And if you look at what happened with Megan and with her foot getting injured and her bleeding, like think about the foot represents the soul, right? It's so much. And you think about Lil' Kim, they used her in the same way. I mean, she has a freaking cross hanging right in front of her yoni. That's what the churches was doing. And then we got politics. Here's Rihanna, and she has CERN on the front of her dress. Like, why? Why send her to the White House to do that? These are the questions everybody should be wondering, you know, if you are a truth seeker. And so I talk about this in WAP War as well. So this is not coincidental with this full moon eclipse in Scorpio. This is what dug a lot of this stuff up and bringing it out to the surface. And later I will be explaining to you this whole demon talk that keeps coming up. But I want to say, don't be distracted. And you only come to my channel and anything that I post because you want to hear maybe the perspective that is not being shared. And that's what I love to do, is share different perspectives about things to help expand people's consciousness. So check this out. Awakening God thing and this EU melanin and these DNA codes and coming online and the old gods of the old world awakening within us and the ancestors returning within us. And with all of this comes great responsibility. And we have to see that we are responsible for a lot of the terrible things that are going on today because we have perpetuated these things and we have refused to stop honoring things that no longer serve us as a whole. So let me tell you, let's pull one of the Ashe Bobby Hemmett checks. Okay? You can give me a check behind this one. But in every film, every TV show now, even the ones that didn't support black women ever being a part of the show, the black woman has the lead role. I don't even have to start naming it because you see it. And most of the time, her love interest is what? A white man. When somebody outside of your race sees the value of your woman and you don't, and you're still not protecting her, and you're still being allowed, you rappers out there are still being allowed to be paid to disrespect women, you're perpetuating the very thing that you talk about is wrong and evil and bad and the devil and the white man and Illuminati and all of these other adversaries. Everybody is an adversary except for you, black man. You are responsible. You are responsible. You must take accountability for what has happened. Just because it was unconscious or epigenetics or as a result of trauma doesn't make you not be accountable for it. So to awaken is to say, okay, I can accept this. I'm aware of it and I'm going to be accountable and I'm going to make adjustments and I'm going to acknowledge the black woman and I'm going to teach my daughter different. I didn't know any better, but when you know better, you do better. See, awakened man, that's how he begins to think. And so this message will not be offensive to men who are awakened or awakening. The movies are doing this because they know, they study through divination and the many different mediums and truards and different sorcerers that they have, that they seek and they consult with. They know this is the spiritual current, the divine feminine, and you combine in there a specific type of indigenous bloodline lineage. There's access to things that you cannot get access to any other way. And for those who do not begin to see this and acknowledge this, and for those who still want to ignore the fact that even Malcolm X made this observation, okay, and how unprotected, unloved, neglected, and abused the black woman has been. If you cannot see that, you will hinder your progress in the spiritual awakening that is happening. And I don't care who disagrees with this because I feel this in my womb space. And why would I allow my womb space to speak something so strong unless I knew that it was a fact? Such a fact that the Capitol, White House, the structure is that of a dome. which represents the womb, the most powerful country in the world, sends out its laws and decisions from something that is a sacred geometrical match to the womb. And it uses the phallus, the monument, to cast out that energy through the apex of the tip of the phallus. It's a combination of sacred geometry and sex magic that is used for America to be the most powerful country in the world. And as we see power shifting and America falling apart, they have once again fell back on depending on the energy of the Black woman. This goes all the way back to the beginning of religion and the ancient Sibyls and the Mama Watas, these seers, the prophetess who they consulted and went to before they made certain laws and legal decisions. It always falls back on the indigenous woman because of the ancestral coding. It has nothing to do with racism. I don't even want to use that word. This is deeper than that. This is spiritual war. So you must realize that in the maritime law, we represent being in the womb of the matrix. It's why so many words when you go to court, there's a docket. When you dock your boat, it's a dock. All of these words. So we're swimming. We're the egg and the sperm, right? And the capital, Washington, D.C., are the ones that write the laws of the nature that we must follow. No different than within a woman's body, the laws that her body is going to follow as the baby is gestated. So you see the recreation of as within, so without, as above, so below that they use. So imagine what happens if we begin to honor the womb space for real, not how Hollywood and the church have used the Black woman's spiritual current flow to use as a foundation to build things on. But like really, in an honorable way. Man, I hope you hear this. But can you imagine the change in the type of nation that can be birthed from acknowledging the woman in her womb as being literally an incarnation of source creation that's existing in your life as your mother, your wife, your sister, your girlfriend, whoever, your friend? So much would change. Man, your third eye has just been kissed. Peace. These are touchy topics to talk about, but if we do not have open dialogue about some of the things that have been keeping us stuck on the prison planet in the 3D consciousness, we will not evolve. Here we have Elon Musk, and he's actually paying for employees to get abortions out of state, right? It's really interesting that this is happening the way that it is, because I saw this coming and been talking about it. And so we're seeing this happen on so many different fronts. I mean, who would have ever thought that Elon Musk would pay for their abortion? Like, there's so much here to unpack, and I'm not going to do it right now. But with the Roe versus Wade, and, so I mean, look at this. Like, it's almost as if women don't have the right to do what they want to do with their body. And it's almost like they're trying to escort us back in the past where we just came from. Whoopi Goldberg said that getting an abortion, that was one thing. But she said that she had to have her own abortion. And so she's speaking from experience, and she's saying how difficult of a decision that is. But check out this article and more about this information. She said women, when they decide something is not right for them, they're going to take it into their own hands. We got tired of tripping over the women in public bathrooms who were giving themselves abortions because there was nowhere safe, nowhere clean, nowhere to go. Whoopi explained that the 1973 court decision to guarantee abortion came about because people wanted to have somewhere safe and somewhere clean. It has nothing to do about your religion. This is not a religious issue. This is a human issue. And she insisted that getting an abortion is not easy. She said that it's hard and it's an awful decision. But this what stood out to me. Everybody wants to tell me what to do. This is my body. And this is true. And we went through this with the mask and them telling us that we had to wear the mask. But notice that it's 22 states that was reported to have been participated in this pro-choice research organization. And where these 22 states have anti-abortion laws pending. I happen to live in one of them. I'm very open and honest about all of my experiences. I've had an abortion and it's very painful on many levels. A man, in my mind, has no right to tell me what to do with my body because it's my body. And, so when men start telling women what they can and can't do, that's a huge issue and it's taking us backwards. Right? We must be sovereign. We must make our own decisions and choices. And I have no words for the disgrace of all of the bullshit that women have had to put up with on this planet to now be having to go through this. Last year, there were women in my state and bordering states who could only get an abortion if the man they were pregnant by wanted them to get it. Without that, they couldn't have it. So what's happening is the minority races are having a lot of babies, and this is why we have the vaccinations that got passed out. And I had already told y'all and showed y'all the proof of sterility would be able to be done remotely. And then you have Elon Musk on the other side of that paying for abortions. This is an epic movie. Like, there's no way I could have made this up. This movie has been fantastic. I mean, the 3D simulation just never fails to surprise me. It's just pretty amazing watching this Matrix movie play out. So I want you to hear some of the information that I shared in the New Soul Conference with Ani Osaru in Columbus, South Carolina. If you want to watch that full thing, it is available on Patreon. Okay. And don't worry about the price. Just go over there and see how much stuff is and how much is available and pick what works for you. But it's definitely worth hearing. And I'm going to put a portion of it here, and the full video will be on Patreon.
They had to wait. This is why they put a black woman in the Supreme Court. They put a black woman in the White House. They trying to reposition everything so that they don't get fucked up, because there is a law of retribution. And it has been activated. This is why our sons are having mental imbalances and emotional imbalances. And then they tell them that there's something wrong with them, that they're autistic, that they ADHD. No, they just different. They just different. They just not like the nigga that been taught to conform. They just different. And they breaking free. The ancestors are speaking to them. I watched this in my grandson. He's so rebellious. And I tell people, no, don't put your hands on him. Don't do none of that. We need that energy here. Let's just teach them how to transmute it and use it. So the return of God is one of the most ancient expectations of the human race. Every world religion has presented itself as preparing for this return. Every religion still awaits it. We already know God, his outward manifestation by his laws, his commands, his works. That is the logos, the masculine side of God. What we await in the second coming is what we lack, God's inner dynamic or process. This, God in his creativeness rather than in his creation, is the essence of the feminine, traditionally enacted in the ancient mysteries. The return is therefore the emergence of the feminine side of God, which has been gradually taking shape for centuries in what we call the unconscious. When we do not consciously recognize the dark feminine, we place ourselves on dangerous ground. Denial of darker realms contributes to a profound betrayal of life itself, especially when the denial turns itself into projections, into one person onto one people. They love to do that. Within the psyche of those betrayed, toxic projections can twist and drive, wrenching itself into despair, rage, and even terror. For those who have experienced betrayal at these levels, for those who have been overshadowed by the trauma of individual and collective denial, the betrayal can become a horrifying and bottomless abyss. An abyss which is experienced as the demonic and raging core of one's own very being. This is why they taught us to say, Satan, get thee behind me. Whenever it's saying Satan, they're talking about soot, Seth, blackness, the one who was adversarial to the force acquiesce that we have now awakened to. This experience can arise within those who have been radically marginalized, brutalized, and forced to carry a projection of malignant shadow that is not theirs personally to bear. This is experienced in the survivors of genocide and sexual abuse, child abuse, sexism, racism, maleficent oppression of all kinds, which implant a life-threatening sense of shame simply for being one who is a woman, a defenseless child of a different belief, or just different. And now they got a church on every block, a different demon nation, and they always arguing and casting spells on each other, just like we got gangs on every block. But churches say gangs got something wrong with them because that ain't that neighborhood. Well, that ain't your block, and that ain't your church, and that's not your religion. That's not your spiritual practice. But they too blind. They can't see. They can't see, and I'm going to get into the blindness. Ooh, I got the lights. Okay. We're going to play this clip, and then I'll get into the blindness. Yeah.